Welcome, everybody, to the Friday edition of E.W. Jackson for America. Great to be with you again today. I hope you're ready for a wonderful weekend. Please, I urge you, I encourage you, get out to a good Bible-believing, Bible-preaching, Bible-teaching church and worship the Lord this coming Sunday. If you happen to be in the local area, come on out to the Called Church at 943 Canal Drive in Chesapeake, Virginia. We are there at 11 o'clock. I will be preaching at 11 a.m. We start live streaming at about 11:15. So join us either in person in our sanctuary or join us online. And you can do that at thecall.org. You can do it at my Facebook page, E.W. Jackson for America, or E.W. Jackson SR. I think either one will work. You can do it on Rumble, The Real E.W. Jackson. You can do it on YouTube, E.W. Jackson YouTube channel. So a number of places you can also watch at standamerica.us. So this is Friday. I have to tell you I'm going to have a shortened program today because I'm due to sort of interview co-hosts for the hour from 9 a.m. Eastern to 10 a.m. Eastern with my good friend Pastor Jeff Shreve at American Family Radio. So I will be with him starting at 9 a.m. So we're going to have a somewhat shortened program. I just want to encourage you, since it's Friday, and I do this every Friday, folks, we have had a real challenge with our Patriot Partner Program, and I think it's the economy that's done it. My goal is to get to 500 Patriot Partners. If we get to when we get to 500 Patriot Partners, we are going to be really in a really strong, stable financial position. But it seems we keep losing ground on our Patriot Partners. People are dropping out. They can't give anymore. I don't know. The economy has just done a job on people, of course. But I want to encourage you. You can become a Patriot Partner for as little as $5 a month, $5 a month. And you go to our website, standamerica.us. You will see how to give. If you give $25, I'll send you a signed copy of my book, which reminds me, I owe some people some books from the dinner. But I will send you a signed copy of my book, signed, dated, and numbered, by the way. And I think I've given out about 100 of those books, so we're now on the second 100 of those books that we're giving out to Patriot Partners. I want to encourage you, if you're not a Patriot Partner, sign up as a Patriot Partner. So you can do it two ways. You either commit to giving an annual gift of at least $300 or as little as $5 a month. If you give the $25 a month, I will send you my book. I also want to mention two other things that are very, very important to mention. One is there are two other ways that people can give that they don't think about. One is you can give a stock gift. So I know the stock market is not exactly, doing great right now, kind of volatile at the moment. But if you decide that you want to give something of value, that will appreciate in value once it's given. In other words, you can give a stock that the value right now might be low, but the valuation might go way up for us. And when we sell the stock, which is probably what we would do, we get a lot more than you've actually given because of the value of the stock at that moment. But you can go to our website. We do have a stock account, and you can give with stock. The other thing is we want to encourage people to consider giving a legacy gift, meaning giving in your estate plan. My wife and I have included Stand in our estate plan, our church as well, because we believe that whatever resources we have left, we certainly want to make sure that those resources are shared with the ministry. And you could do the same. So a lot of times people may say, well, I'd love to give a big gift, and I'm just not in a position to do that. But I'm going to include Stand in my legacy. I'm going to include Stand in my estate plan. And, X percentage of the net resources of my estate are going to go to Stand. It might be 10%. It might be 50%. For some people who really fall in love with what we're doing and don't have children to leave their funds to, and they say, you know what, I'm going to give my estate to Stand and let them do something. Sometimes it can be a land gift, because we're still believing God. I'm believing God for my entire ministry for about 300 acres of land. We thought we were moving forward with that 145 acres, 140 acres, whatever it was, that was going to sort of be the deposit on that, the first part of that, and it just didn't work out. But I really believe God has a campus for us somewhere, somehow, and we're going to get it. Maybe somebody might do that. They might say, you know what? All this land I've got, this acreage I've got, I want to leave that to Stan when I pass away and let them build their ministry on that land. And so there are lots of ways that you can give, little or much, but we are appreciative of whatever gift you give. StanAmerica.us is the website. StanAmerica.us is the website. And again, I am a preacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is my ultimate calling. Everything else I do grows out of that. And so if you want to participate with us in our worship service, we have an extension membership. You want to be an extension member, you can feel free to sign up at the call.org website. And in the meantime, just be praying for us. Even if you say, you know what, I don't really have a dime to spare. I'm on a fixed income, whatever. Pray. Because I always say, prayer will produce resources. Resources are never a substitute for prayer. So, wanted to get that out there. Thank you all very much for the support that you've given us. Believe me, we are deeply appreciative. We had a very successful Stand Awards dinner. But that Stand Awards dinner, the first couple of years, we had somebody step up with a matching gift of $100,000. The third and the fourth, actually, two of those, 2 or 3. Actually, I think 3 of those we did, but the last 2 we have not. And that's put kind of a little bit of a crimp in our style, obviously. That's $100,000 that came in the first 3 times, that didn't come in the last 2 times. And as you can imagine, when you're missing $100,000 from your projected budget, at least, not that I was entitled to that or felt entitled to that or was guaranteed that, but was hoping that that was a trend that would continue. And it hasn't, as of yet, at least. I'm believing God that it will come back. Somebody else will step up and say, you know what, I'll do that. I'll be that angel giver. But in the meantime, be praying for us, because we're going on in the name of the Lord, and the Lord will provide. He is Jehovah Jireh, our provider. Okay. With that out of the way, I'm going to be speaking at Greenbrier Christian Academy tomorrow. That's not an invitation for people to come, obviously, from the outside, but to ask you to pray for me, because when I have an opportunity to speak to students, I really want the Lord. I always want the Lord to use me. But when you're talking to young people, particularly, and they've got all kinds of distractions and things going on with them, and they're at the beginning of their careers and their lives. And you really want to say something that makes an indelible mark on them. Something that they will always, I remember my graduation, Bishop E.W. Jackson said this. They're not going to remember the whole message, but if there's something that drops into their hearts that makes a difference for them and that helps to guide them and helps give them some wisdom and some insight into what their lives are likely to be and how they ought to be making their decisions and guiding themselves, praise God. That's what you want. That is what you want. You want to drop an eternal seed into their hearts that will help them all the way from earth to heaven. So be praying for me that the Lord will use me tomorrow morning at Greenbrier Christian Academy in Chesapeake to do just that. All right. Well, in the time I've got left, I want to talk about China, because there's a lot of stuff in the news. I'm going to share something with you that you probably didn't know. I know I did not know this. Did you know that Columbia University has 36,000 students, and over half of those students are foreigners? Well over half. In fact, of the 36,000 students, 20,000 of Columbia University students are foreigners. They are not American citizens. Only 16,000 are American citizens. Did you know that? I did not know that. I mean, that's not... Columbia University is really a university for foreigners, more than it is for American citizens. No wonder it's been a seedbed of anti-Semitism, because you got all these people coming from all these countries around the world, many of them from the Middle East. Oh, and by the way, of those 20,000 foreign students, 55% of them are from communist China. That means more than a quarter of the entire student body at Columbia comes from China. I find these statistics shocking. Because, I talk about this infiltration. Now, these are, of course, are people who are probably granted visas by Columbia if they have the authority to do that, as Harvard does under some program that gives them the right to grant these student visas. But I had no idea that, now the percentage is a little bit lower at Harvard and NYU, but the same trend. Lots and lots and lots of foreign students. Remember, I told you that the Harvard School of Public Health has been renamed the Harvard, I think it's TH or HT Chan School of Public Health. It's named after a Chinese national who gave $350 million. Now, you know that money came from the Chinese Communist government. You know that. Because they wouldn't have given it without the permission of Xi Jinping. Because China is still a totalitarian, dictatorial nation. It is not a free country. And just because you own a business, or you run a business really, because the Communist Party of China owns all the businesses, but just because you seem to own a business, or you're the titular head of a business, doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want to do. You've got to do whatever the party tells you to do. So I said yesterday, so China's got to be thinking, why would we fight America when we can buy America? Right? I mean, why shed blood when we can buy it cheap for cash? NYU Chinese students are 11.3% of the student population and 41% of the foreign students. Almost like Columbia. The largest group of foreign students at NYU is Chinese. Now, you know these people are infiltrating our country. You know that. And does our government not know that? I think President Trump knows that, and I think that's why he's cracking down on Harvard. They need to crack down on Columbia. Because, I mean, my goodness gracious, the majority of the students at Columbia are foreign students. And only 16,000 of 36,000 students are Americans. Again, it's a foreign university for all practical purposes. It's not an American university. No wonder the president didn't have a problem with the anti-Semitism on campus. No wonder. Because that president, I think it was a woman who had to ultimately resign, but she was catering to her true constituency. Her true constituency is China and all these foreign governments that are feeding money into Columbia to keep it cash flush. Her constituency is not Americans. They're in the minority. So there are a number of stories. I mentioned this one yesterday. I believe I did. That this Chinese-owned company is fighting, well, maybe I didn't, but they're fighting Ohio. Ohio's passing a law that restricts the purchase of property by foreigners. And, and again, these leftists are screaming and yelling about, you're violating people's rights. Look, folks, first of all, as far as I am concerned, no foreigner has a right to come here and buy property without the American government being aware of it and sanctioning it. Because we have to know who these people are. But this place I think it's called Fayao Glass. It's a Chinese-owned glass company. They're fighting. By the way, they're now part of a fraud investigation too, but they're fighting the Ohio state legislature, which is passing a law that bans foreign citizens from purchasing property that is farmland, near military bases, key infrastructure, or shall we say sensitive businesses. In other words, businesses that might be doing things that we consider to be sensitive from a national security perspective. So in other words, it's not saying no foreigner can buy any land anywhere, but it's saying no foreigner is allowed to buy land that has national security implications. And farmlands are part of that. This Chinese company is fighting this. Now, my first question is, and I'm not saying he hasn't, but I'm waiting to hear. My first question is, what is Vivek Ramaswamy saying about this? I mean, they say he's a shoo-in for governor. He's going to be the next governor of Ohio. Is he speaking out against this? Is he saying anything? Because one would think, as for all practical purposes, the shoo-in, de facto governor, just to hear what people are telling me, all there is to do is to just have the election, and he will be governor of Ohio. So I'm not saying he hasn't said anything. I have not heard anything. I've been looking for it, because the governor of Ohio needs to take a strong, unequivocal stand against the infiltration of our country by these Chinese spies and infiltrators. This company apparently has been here since 2014. Chinese nationals own it. It's not owned by American citizens who happen to be Chinese. This is Chinese nationals who own this company. They signed a $200 million agreement to operate the factory in Moraine near Dayton. Like I said, to me, China is saying, why would we be stupid enough to fight America when they're willing to sell it to us? So, oh, and by the way, guess who pushed this plant and hailed, oh, this is wonderful, this is a great thing? Michelle and Barack Obama. And I say it in that order, advisedly, because in some ways, but Michelle and Barack just thought this was just the greatest thing in the world. Well, of course, they're both communists. I mean, look, folks, and I'm not saying that to be mean. They're not communists with a big C. I'm not suggesting that they're members of the Communist Party, but they're Marxists. They think like communists think. They don't think like Americans who believe in a constitutional republic and free market and free speech. And they don't think that way. They think more like, they think the way Karl Marx thinks. Now, again, Barack Obama was busy talking about people having too much money and people, we got to spread the wealth around. But when it comes to a Chinese company buying its way into Ohio, whoa, this is a great thing. This is a wonderful thing. So I just trust that this law and many other like it are coming down the pike to stop communist China from destroying our country from within. Because I think that's exactly what they're up to. That's exactly what they're up to. There's no question about it. And when I say destroy, I mean destroy it in a way that they end up in control, so that we're no longer the free society that we were. So that they're really pulling the strings, if you will. Now, J.D. Vance has talked about the fact that these courts that are getting in the way of President Trump trying to revamp our trade system and reorder it. He said, they're saying, well, there's not an emergency. He said, but the fact of the matter is that we have got countries that are controlling critical supply chains, and they're in a position to literally cripple our country if they decide to withhold certain essential products that we need in this country. That is an emergency, folks. The fact that you are at the mercy of adversaries and perhaps enemies for critical products for our country. That's an emergency. Only problem is Joe Biden was too much in a fog to even see it. And maybe to care about it, because again, he was taking money through Hunter, hand over fist, from foreign governments. So maybe the last thing he wanted to do was rock the boat in order to secure America. Not while there's money to be made. So J.D. Vance is saying this is an emergency. We've got pharmaceuticals, we've got chips, we've got all kinds of things that we need in order for our country to function. And the fact that foreign adversaries and potentially enemies control our access to these goods is something that needs to be corrected. And that's what the president is trying to do. He's trying to correct this. Because remember, he's got really two things in mind. One is to bring the trade deficit down, and two is to bring manufacturing home. It's very simple when you come right down to it. And those are very noble goals, important goals. Bring our trade deficit down, bring our manufacturing home, so that we are not dependent upon any foreign country for critical products that our country needs to function. I mean, can you believe, I don't know whether you're aware of this, but you know, all these rail cars that we're operating, the new ones that we're operating on our subways, on our, for Amtrak, whatever good it's worth, you know where they're being made? China. You know, all this electronic stuff. I mean, for all we know, China is embedding, and I don't mean to sound paranoid, but look, I wouldn't put it past them. Now, maybe they couldn't get it past us, true, and they might not do it for that reason. But would you put it past them to put surveillance equipment in anything they sell us? Would you? Of course not. Because the communism is evil. It's wicked. It has no moral standards at all, except one: further communism. That's its only moral standard. Kill to further communism, lie to further communism, cheat to further communism, deceive to further communism. Whatever you have to do, that's their only moral rule. So you think that they would have any compunctions about spying on the American people? Well, that brings me to the last two topics, and they're related. Kash Patel has said, now that he's FBI director, he said the thing that causes him to stay awake at night, believe it or not, is not just what these crazy liberals are doing. You know what he said it is? It's China's data collection in our country and their activities having infiltrated America. He said that's what keeps him up at night. Well, guess what? TikTok is still operating. I hope it continues to operate. But the president gave it an extension until June the 5th to find an American buyer. I haven't heard anything. Have you? This is what? May 30th. So that's 6 days from now. TikTok is supposed to have an American buyer. TikTok is nothing but a Trojan horse, folks. It's China's way of further infiltrating our country. We got to bring a stop to this stuff. We've got to bring a stop to it. So we need to be praying for our president, praying for our country, praying for Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the head of the CIA, all these folks who are responsible for making sure that America is safe and secure from all of these foreign efforts to undermine us, to destabilize us, to destroy us. Because if we take our eyes off the ball, you better believe Satan he'll wreak havoc in this nation. So I just wanted to get that out there for you all. Listen, God bless each and every one of you. I have a podcast on American Family Radio called The Awakening Podcast. It posts every Wednesday, so you could go back and listen to any of those podcasts. We're going video with it, so you'll be able to watch it as well. It's not an E.W. Jackson for America production. It's an American Family Radio production. But I'm about to go over to American Family Radio now and do a program with Pastor Jeff Shreve. So look, you know what to do, because, again, this battle is not nearly over. Stand up, step up, speak up, and refuse to back up, knowing that we cannot be defeated if we will not quit, because we are on God's side. God bless everybody.